I'm just going to say, keep going. It might not be working now, but keep going. It's a matter of resilience and pushing through, and you'll get there. And your consistency and resilience will get you to where you want to be. If it's a matter of you do it once and succeed, everyone will be millionaires, right? It's not like that. Things aren't going to work out all the time. You just have to push through.
I wanted to get you on the pod because you're one of my oldest friends in Singapore. And I mean old by the time that I've known you, not your actual age, even though you do look like granddad. But no, I wanted to get you on the pod, mate, because I think both you and I moved to Singapore at the same time, causing a lot of trouble, partying a hell of a lot, getting numerous party buses to Bang Bang, having a good time. But I think we both went over to Singapore fairly early on in our careers. You know, I was in banking at the time. You were a junior broker as well. And it's been great to see you progress so much within your career over the space of, 5 to 6, 7 years. Going from being a junior broker to now heading up one of the largest divisions at one of the largest broking houses globally. And it's been really interesting to see your journey because you've been incredibly corporate smart. I've seen you network a hell of a lot, and I've seen you work your fucking ass off as well to get to where you've got to. But I've also seen you as a person change through that journey because you're dealing with like high-paced environments where you guys are just like fucking swearing and screaming and shouting at each other to get these deals locked in. So, and I think there's definitely people out there that are in sales jobs or are brokers themselves or anything that's sort of client facing that they can take on advice from you in terms of how you've managed to do it just over 5 years and build that up. So that's why I wanted to get you on here, and also because you're my mate. Look, why don't we kick off with how you even got into broking?
It was quite a tricky route, actually. So I sort of think it's written in the stars for me to be a broker because I had this like really long route to get in. So I think it's sort of meant to be. So I applied to my third year of uni summer and for an internship, and I went all the way to the end, and it was like between me and this one other fella, and then I didn't get it. They picked the other guy, and he spoke a couple of languages. They picked him, so I managed to get another internship elsewhere as like a backup. So I did my year out in China, and then in China I applied again, and I got sacked off after the first round of interviews. Got like the rejection email straight away. So I then ended up starting the job of the internship I did for my backup, and then I applied again, third time. And so this time I was applying for the graduate program whilst I was working at a bank on a grad scheme. And then again, they're like, we like you, but we're not sure. So we can't give you the job, but we're going to give you an internship. So I left my grad job to then do the internship. But then fortunately, it all sort of worked out.
Oh, sweet. And did you particularly want to just only do broking, or did you want to go down other paths? You want to go to banking as well? Or
to be honest, I mean, everyone at my uni
was
applying for sales and trading. It's either that or M&A. So I initially wanted to do sales and trading, but nothing came about. I wasn't really on top of it in terms of applying on time, as in like early. So nothing came about of it. And then it was just another place I applied to. And it sort of, the more I did research because of the interviews, the more I seemed to like it. Like the more I read, the more I liked the role.
It's so funny because even for me, like once I graduated uni, for me, it was like, yeah, I just got to get into banking. I don't care what the role is. I've just got to get into a bank, or I've got to get into a financial house or an investment house. And that was all the thing that was going through my head. Do you ever look back and kind of regret that we took that route?
I don't. I mean, to be honest, I knew I wanted to work in finance from like a very young age. Like I wanted to be dealing with money. I get your point though. Like to be honest, a lot of people when they're applying for jobs, they don't actually know what it is or whatever. They're just like, it's the thing I should be doing, which is quite normal. But yeah, it's a shame people do that. They should sort of try to be a bit more informed. But there are ways to be informed. Like there's always like careers days, companies come and visit, pitch themselves, department.
Yeah, no, I think for me personally, right, I feel that I went in straight to be an analyst, right? Well, firstly, I studied economics, which I think me and you both think that's surprising. But I then went to go and be an analyst, but I should have just gone straight into doing sales because that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I really enjoy doing. But I did no, I wouldn't say waste. I did spend a year being an analyst, but I learned a hell of a lot from that. So
But I think it's normal, right? When you're 21, do you really, really want to do? not necessarily. And you might think you do, but then when you get into the job, it's like,
I think what was going through my head is that I just need to get a job, right? I just need to get my foot into a door and then let it go from there. And I think that is also a good approach because you always learn things on whatever role you're in, right? So I guess it works.
yeah, I mean, like the job you start doesn't have to be the job you end with, right?
Yeah, definitely. I work for a hedge fund, bank, startup, my own business now. So I've done literally bounced for all of them. But whereas you've taken a completely different route and have just stayed within that particular company throughout your whole career, right?
Well, I mean, I started at a bank doing middle office, but it was like, it was just a stepping stone and it was the most waste of time ever.
So when you got to the broking house that you're currently at, what was the first role that you were doing?
Mate, I was trainee broker. I was like bottom of the barrel, getting lunch, getting people cream for their rashes, that kind of, mate. But like, as a broker, you always start off doing like admin to try and like get to know the systems, get to know like deal booking. Then like just you have to sort of like pay attention to your environment, understand and keep track of what's going on.
And is it like people say? Is it like very much like Wolf of Wall Street and all that kind of stuff?
So I started in London, so like it was really quite like that. I mean, I think so. Like my old boss told me stories that I probably shouldn't repeat on here. They're quite explicit, but yeah. I mean, I think back in the day it was literally like Wolf of Wall Street, as in like I don't think that movie is much of an exaggeration, but like nowadays obviously it's calmed down. There's like regulation, there's compliance, but it's still quite wild west at times.
What would you enjoy about that?
It's fast paced. It's really easy. Like, so when it's going well, it's amazing. Like you get the rush. It's fast paced. Like you're closing deals, you're making money. What's not to like, right? But obviously, there's a flip side when it's not going well. You're missing trades, making mistakes, getting screamed at by your clients, and you're like, "Is this shit worth it?" There's a lot of that at the start because, like, as a junior, it's only natural. You're constantly making mistakes because you're learning, right? It's your first time doing something, and it's 100 miles per hour, so it's quite impossible to get it right the first time. And you're getting screamed at by your like bosses or colleagues, mate. And like they really take the piss. Like more so in London, like they're like, was your degree even worth it? You spent 3 years at LSE, you can't even get this right.
So, how is it then, like dealing with that fast-paced environment? Because again, I remember at the very beginning of your career when we used to go out for drinks and stuff, and I used to see you after work, like you were still like had that buzz and energy to you, but equally you were by the end of the week after on like a Sunday after we've had our nights out as well, like you were exhausted. So how has it been dealing with that fast-paced environment?
So like to be honest, it's very tough at the start. So I always say to like junior brokers now, like I know this sucks, but you just need to push on through it, and it will get better, and you'll get better. There'll be less shit that's thrown at you. So like the start in London, man, I would go meet my housemates for drinks after work and be like, I'm gonna fucking drop this guy tomorrow. He's just like, man, I'll treat you like shit. But it's like it's just normal. It's just the way it is, and you just got to suck it up. And like, and I use it as motivation. Like this guy would drive me crazy at work, and now I can like bitch on him from Singapore. Like, as in, I don't mean to, but like when the occasion arises that I have to, it's like it's nice for me. But so at the start, I use it as motivation to get better faster because like it's fucking like who likes to get screamed at? And
so it's like essentially, John, like you kind of got to have tough skin within that role.
Oh yeah, 100%. You have to be thick-skinned, and I say one of the most important characteristic traits is resilience because that's probably the difference between a lot of brokers that make it and don't. It's just, are you willing to stick it through and like take it on the chin and keep going?
Have you seen a lot of people drop out?
These days, the juniors that come through, they're a bit more entitled. They're not as hungry, so that you just see a lot of them come in, and then after like 6 months to a year, they're like, "Oh, it's not for me," which is fine. It's fair enough.
So, other than like just pushing through it and powering through things, what other advice would you give to those junior brokers?
I think the most important advice is what we just said: is you have to push through. Just like accept that it's tough. Like any job at the start is tough. You need to understand that you're going to make mistakes. It's not going to be like in the movies, like everything goes well. You close a deal, get another account, make more money. They're also downs to the ups. But in terms of advice, I think so as you mentioned before, like networking is very important. So for me, when I move, so like the most important thing is just always be going out, meeting new clients. So like for our industry, it's not a matter of like cold calling and finding new customers. There's, let's say, 400 customers, and maybe so like I cover the career market. There's like a couple hundred career customers. So you just need to always be going out, because you never know when one of these guys that's not your customer could become your customer. So then you already have that edge, right? And it's a relationship business. So some of our clients are just more comfortable dealing with brokers purely because they've met them. It can be so minuscule. The margin for a difference can be over small things like that. So yeah, definitely going out all the time and just making the most of opportunities to meet new people in the market is also very crucial.
No, that makes sense. And how do you go even around finding those clients? What's your strategy for that?
I mean, so like Singapore is a very small market. So when I first moved over, it's a very incestuous market where brokers will be out with other brokers with mutual clients. So it's very easy in that sense to meet many people. So you just have to jump on the opportunity. If someone's going out for drinks, join them. It's really not rocket science. It's just a matter of, are you hungry enough to keep doing it? Like let's say you were out the night before, you're hungover, you want to go home, but someone's going out, you should go out. For me, at the start, you always find some reason not to ask people out. Just don't overthink it. Just, you need to meet people, meet them. Like and there's smart ways of doing it, right? So like, if I know client X is very close with client Y, I'll invite client Y and X together, so that there's more chance of them coming out. Like, because like, it's very common that clients just will drop you like, sorry, I can't do it anymore, blah blah blah. So you gotta be smart about it. So you like, yeah, invite, if you know that they're close with this broker or that other trader, bring them out, so you know you're gonna get them out. And then B, be a bit different, man. It's like everyone is just like the standard dinner and drinks, which is good. Like, who doesn't like that? But think a bit out of the box, like play some sports with your clients. Not everything has to like batter your liver.
No, I completely agree with you. And I also, just a couple of points on that as well, just from my experiences, industries are small, right? And people move around in these industries, so they do know each other. So the more people you get out, the merrier it is, and they're all going to speak about you anyway.
Yeah. That's a very good point, I think, because in our industry, it's a matter of relationships and trust, and a lot of trust can come from like positive feedback from other clients. So like, shout out to Nathan. Nate, like one of my now biggest customer. Nathan is good friends with him, and Nathan sung my praises to him. So that helped things start at the start, and that's a big, like, all these small things, mate, will help you get on your way. It's quite surprising, like a little thing like that can have a huge difference, because like in our industry, that little thing can mean, okay, right, I'm gonna listen to this guy's pricing more, like just like pay more attention to his chat, and then you end up dealing with it.
I also think that, like, don't talk shit in the market as well, because that will get around very, very quick. Just be, what you do. Don't talk shit and be honest the whole time, because you will get caught out. People move to different companies, and word will then get out as well and stuff like that. So just don't even bother.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good sign if you have a lot of secrets that people don't know, because A, it means people trust you, and B, you don't run your mouth. You should never run.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then just on the other point you mentioned is, doing something different when you're taking your clients out. I remember for me, it was because I was always, fairly one of the youngest ones within my industry on both on all sides, right? I was like more of the fun one. These guys are like fucking, 40-plus-year-old white men that don't really go out much. They need to go home to their wife and kids and whatever. So I would make sure that we did really fun drinks and like cool party buses and stuff like that, and like just like have a great time. And it's something that they would remember as well, right? Rather for a few hours and sitting there talking rubbish. So, be different and be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it like, I mean, yeah, it's very normal. You just go for a drink to dinner, or like even golf, whatever. But like, there's so many other different things you can do. You just need to get to know your clients first, to know what they like. Pay attention, then you can run off that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Relationship building.
Yeah, I mean, I think relationship building is even more crucial in Asia. So
Yeah, but you know what? I think it's easier though. I think it's easier because we're all in the same boat on the expat side, right? And everyone wants to kind of do business with each other. We're kind of all in the same, mindset of growth. We've all come here for a reason. So I think it's way easier to relationship and network build in Asia.
Man, I think you're talking about like your nights out at Bangkok. No, mate, you're just talking about chatting to people at the bar.
It works. But what were you saying now? What's your views on it?
Yeah, I mean, if that's how you know it, fair enough. But I mean, I think in Asia, it's more of a relationship-driven market. A, but B, people aren't as willing to go out, or like they're a bit like, if I don't know you, I don't know you. I'm not going to do business with you. Well, so the reason I say it's more relationship-driven market is because quite often people just deal with a broker because they've met them before, know them, and not deal with another broker just because they've never met him. So that's something I struggled with at the start because like nobody knew me at the start. People didn't want to deal with me. I was like, for fuck's sake. But then also like I don't think it's as easy to like get out with people here because maybe they're a bit less outgoing than in like the London market.
No, I agree. I think, especially in one thing I learned about Asia market is, and even Rob was talking about it when he was on the pod as well, is that they just love lunches here.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think a lot of people like not as many. Some people, it's quite often that like people don't drink, so then they just don't want to go out after work for drinks, or that they need to rush home to their family after work. Whereas in London, people because of their family don't want to go home, so they're more down for a drink.
No, definitely. No, I completely agree with that. So you obviously you did all that hard work, you did all of that networking, and then moved over to Singapore, and you also did that whilst you're in Singapore. How did you then get from being a broker to being the head of your division?
So to be honest, I mean, I think in the back of my head, I wanted to be progress, and naturally that means being desk head. But actually, when I was made desk head, I didn't. It was before, not before I was ready, but it wasn't something I was thinking of. So how it happened was COVID hit and our desk volume imploded, and then I got shafted on my bonus. So I went and spoke to my boss's boss. But like, I get it's COVID. I get I'm not going to get paid. Like I get I should get paid only a fraction of what I would normally get. I get that, but it can't be nothing. So then my boss's boss looked into things, and then my boss was supposed to retire in like 6 months. So he just told him, "Why don't you retire now?" And then they'll like restructure the desk. And then I was actually trying to help them hire somebody else to be the new desk head, a guy in New York that I used to work with when I was in London. And that went all the way. Contract was issued. He's talking to me about accounts, who to rehire, blah blah blah. And last minute he pulled out, and then my current boss was just like, "Fuck it, John, why don't you just try being desk head?" And I was a bit like, yeah, let me think about it. And then there's this quote from Richard Branson where it's like, I don't know the exact words, but it's like, if you get given an opportunity that you're not sure that you can do whatever, just accept it and then find a way after you accept it. So that's basically what I did. I was just like, fuck it. Like, how often will this opportunity come around? Just jump on it.
So like being thrown into the deep end, essentially, how was that? How did you deal with that?
So I mean, at the start, initially it's like, so your prerogative has to completely change because by just being a broker, you just want to make money yourself. Then being desk head, you need to think of the desk and all your colleagues. So that was a big mind shift. And then also it's a bit harder for me in the sense that I came and then suddenly I went from being their colleague to their boss. So it's a bit of like an awkward transition. Like I was their friend, colleague, and now it's like when they want a pay rise, they got to come and ask to recontract me. It's just a bit. So yeah, at the start it was a bit of an awkward transition in that sense.
But other than that, other than the transition, once that like weird period was out the way, how's it been since?
It's good, mate, because it's like it becomes your project, your baby. So then when it's going well, you really get this feeling of like fulfillment because people are doing well. People themselves are making more money. The desk is making more money. You yourself are making more money, and like you're seeing the rewards of your hard work. and everyone else can see that because our previous boss was like an 800-year-old ex-Korean trader. So he would just set in his ways where it's like he basically told our previous junior like you can do whatever you want, just don't bring any troubles to me. So like he was just there to like collect his paycheck each month. So there wasn't much progression because of that. So it's good to see things open up when there was different management around.
Yeah. But I remember, mate, when you first got that role, I remember there was a period where the desk had reached their highest deals or profits or something along the lines of that. And it was consistent over like a period of time as well, which was unheard of.
Yeah, because like it's a bit different. Like it's quite a unique situation because in our market, our main competitor pretty much had a monopoly, and like our desk head was just like he's happy with what they're collecting each month, but there was so much more out there. So then once, I mean, for me, I'm not willing to accept this. I want this. I should be at least trying to get this right. So that when that sort of strategy changed, we started to pick up momentum. So it's like it was to be quite frank, it was not easy, but it was a lot more attainable to be having record months consistently at the start because the previous record months weren't anywhere as high as they should have been.
Yeah. So you're bringing strategy forward then, essentially, right?
I think we were just being like aggressive about we want more market share. We're not willing to accept anymore that this other shop gets all of it. So I mean, I must admit that there was a lot of luck as well and like good timing to do this because like remember Ben? So Ben moved over. So, like, this guy from my uni moved over and he was head of desk at another bank. That was my account, and then he was trading Korea. So like, and he's the best client you can ever have. He just listened to one broker, which happened to be me. So that really helped. So like for me, I leveraged off that to try and build our business. But we got quite lucky that there was like a changing of the old guard, so a load of older Korean traders that would like just deal with this shop that said had the monopoly. They would like retire, then the juniors came up the ranks, and then the juniors would be our desk was a younger desk, so we were well positioned for that move by chance.
But again, mate, that comes down to network, right? Like Ben is a friend, and there's a relationship that you maintained for all these years and stuff as well. And then through him, you must have met people and whatnot. So I think it's still utilizing your networks to get out there.
Yeah, but it comes back to just always go out, meet people because you never know. Any one of those guys can become your client in the next couple of months. There's always so much like people changing banks, people changing products.
Doesn't it ever get tiring, John?
Mate, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. But like I said, when it's going well, like you have more energy. Like it's quite funny that one of my mates from uni said because I was talking about this guy I used to work with in London, and like, I couldn't get he turns up at 6 o'clock. He's like he's there every day at 6 o'clock, and he'd be like, God, drinking late at night. But mate, he's cleaning up. And then my other mate for you is like, yeah, if I was making that much money, I'd have a spring in my step as well. So like, you do get this like extra energy when it's going well, right? Obviously, there's more motivation to get in there because you want to reap the rewards.
Yeah, no, definitely. I completely agree with that. And it's just an energy as well, right? That happiness, the excitement, yeah, momentum from it. 100%, man. 100%. Do you have more lows than highs then, you'd say, with your role?
There are definitely loads, mate. Like, as in, it's a cutthroat industry. So like, when you make mistakes, mate, they get found out. Like, client will come bitching to you about something, or there can be like financial losses involved. It's stressful, mate, but you just have to deal with it. You have to like, you just try and manage it in a way that you're going to minimize all these issues and problems.
Yeah. So, John, based on the growth that you've had over the years, how have you been corporate smart to build yourself up to get to where you are?
To be honest, that's not something I would really like focus on and consciously like make huge amounts of effort for. But I think it's always important to be known by the people above because when shit's the fan, if they know your name, know what you're about, your output is good, right? And then also it's important because when you want to push forward for things, again, you have more chance of like things getting improved. So yeah, it's always important. I think I would say yes, it's quite important to sort of make the effort to speak to like your boss's boss or your boss's boss's boss. And I don't think that's really like here. People don't really do that. It's a very shy culture where people don't want to speak to their boss, or maybe they still want to speak to me, but like let alone speaking to their boss's boss's boss.
Yeah, no, definitely. I do think it's quite a cultural difference as well. I think in Asia there's a lot of resistance to speaking to your superiors or your boss or however you want to say it. Whereas I think for us as Westerners, it's quite a normal thing because we'll just go for drinks with them or we'll just talk about football or whatever's going on at that time. So I think, but I completely agree with you. Go and speak to people because and even if it's, asking them, about an email they sent out or getting advice or just being on their radar, because you don't know where those conversations would ever take you.
Yeah, I mean, there's like never really any downside, right, to trying to speak to regional head or whatever. But there's always some sort of upside. Like, uh, as an example, like when we hired a guy from another competitor, it was quite a pricey buyout. But I know that having chatted with the boss's boss a bit and him being happy with our desk, but like me like conversing with him about it, I know probably that will probably help it. I'm not saying it's what pushed the deal over the edge, but it can only help, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, even for all the roles that I've had, for me to then take that next step was through having conversations or just being social, like just going out for drinks with those people.
I think yeah, it's just a matter of A being social and B you're not overthinking it because yeah, the more you overthink it, the more you get nervous or like just find a reason not to knock on that person's door, send an email, speak to them.
Yeah, but equally, don't be an idiot at the same time. Right? Don't say any like just stupid shit, uh, and just play it safe until you're in the good books. But but no, that makes sense for sure. Cool. Anything else you want to add to that?
Like I said, I mean, I think there's a fine line between this because I see people around me that like kiss assing it, which to me is quite cringe. But maybe yeah, maybe that's what I should be doing, and that can just help accelerate things even more. But for me, that's a bit much. It's a bit much, but I recognise that some of it there needs to be a bit of it being done.
But I know I think just on that though, like you have to work hard at the same time. Like if you
Yeah, I think that's the most important, right?
yeah
Like your work rate, your effort, because that will then affect your output. But yeah, people need to see your output,
yeah
right? So then that's why you need to mingle around with big wigs.
yeah, I think that's completely right, man. John, another thing I want to ask you is that over the years, like I said, when I first met you and we were constantly doing stuff and constantly going out and you were working extremely hard and building your rep in the market and all that kind of stuff, you were definitely on edge and you were like incredibly all stressed out all the time. And I think now, 6 7 years later, you're a lot calmer, but you've also grown a lot within that as well. So what have you done in your life, or what shift has there been, or what tools have you used to allow you to feel calmer while still being in a fast-paced environment?
So to me, there's like a quite clear turning point, and it was during COVID. Actually, this involves involves Chloe. Like you remember when she sent out that 21 days of abundance?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That
like during COVID, uh, yeah, Chloe sent out that Deepak Chopra meditation course thing. But then, yeah, in general, during COVID was when I started like to think about mindfulness, self mastery, etc. So I started doing the coaching sessions with Brian. So like for me, that's a turning point. Like since then, everything started to be somewhat going well. And then so I was doing the coaching session with Brian. So we were looking at like self mastery, which is something I've always like been intrigued by and sort of like really wanted to get into, but never had done until Brian came about to suggest doing coaching sessions. So that's one thing, and then
so John, hold on, just on that. So like self mastery, like what does that mean exactly? Like what are you guys talking about, and what tools has that given you?
I mean, there's you could tag self mastery to so many different things, right? But so like, for example, with me and Brian in our sessions, we go through like trying to learn more about my character traits, what things like agitate me, etc. So you just like getting to know yourself, the way your brain works, the way the human brain works, to sort of have more control over yourself. So that really helps, I think. And then, like, yeah, mindfulness in general, like meditations. I'd never meditated before until COVID, and now it's like a integral part of my morning routine. So, like when you go back to like how do I deal with the fast-paced environment, for me, it's very important to get into work in like a calm, relaxed state. So, like normally, like everyone is like rushing to work, like running for the bus or whatever. So for me, I made the effort to like get up extra early before work. I'll do like some mindfulness stuff. I'll do meditation for like 20 minutes. I'll think about how I want my life to be. So I'll go way into the future, thinking of myself as like a granddad, playing with my grandkids, and then I'll just like phase it back to like being in like my nice big house with Isabel and our kids and our dog, and my mum being around. Then phase it back to like thinking of the joys of our upcoming wedding day, and then phase it back again to like the day ahead, like me thinking of closing like big ticket trades, like celebrating another record day, record month, whatever. I'll do that before I get into work. So like, when I get into work, I feel very calm and just at peace.
So what? So you're telling me, right, that when you're hungover, you're doing that for 20 minutes in the morning?
Yeah, as in like so like my alarm is set at 5:30. I need to be up at 7. So unless I'm like maybe if I've been out very late, I might swerve some of it and set my alarm to 6. But I'll still do the meditation because I had this one day where I didn't meditate before work. I was like, I just sleep in a bit, and I came to work and like screamed at someone. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick to meditate every day in the morning. But I think it's worth it, like because like there is, yeah, there's like trade off. Right? I'll lose 20 minutes of sleep to gain some. Will I feel that much difference physically in terms of tiredness? Probably not, but I'll gain a hell of a lot of mindfulness. So I think it's a good trade off. So I'll do that. And I also do like I do like in the shower. I'll do like positive affirmations while I'm showering. On the way to work, I'll like do like in my head thing of 5 things of self love. So I just get into work in a very good frame of mind, I think.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good, man. I just want to add as well, like you mentioned Deepak Chopra's 21 Days of Abundance, just so people understand what that is. It's a 21-day program where he'll give you a task to do related to abundance and bringing abundance into your life, as well as a meditation as well. And you do it with like a group of people. Man, that even for me, that 21, I've done it multiple times ever since then as well. And something good always comes out of things whenever I do it.
Yeah, shout out Deepak Chopra.
Yes. and Chloe as well for that standpoint.
Yeah, get his app, mate. His app is great. I've literally gone through every single one of his meditations on the app.
Yeah, I've done his sleeping one with Oprah Winfrey as well. It was good.
Yeah. Oprah's on a lot of the. I think it's like a collaboration between the two of them. That app.
I'll DM them both, mate, and see if they want to come on the pod and see what happens.
Mate, we can add a little discount code at the end.
No, awesome, man. Cool. So, John, you were saying earlier, right, that you kind of just got to push through those tough times to be able to excel and grow. What gives you that energy? What experiences or what lows have you had in your life to give you that motivation to push forward to achieve those highs? What makes you so special is what I'm trying to say, mate.
I think a lot of the drive comes from having like a very modest childhood, in the sense that my family didn't have that much. So I think you obviously want what you don't have. So like growing up, we didn't have loads. So I'd always wanted more financially. So I'm really driven by money, I think, and that's because of not having much money as a kid. So I think that is the first impetus in terms of like getting me to push through, keep going. Then B is like I said, mate, I was motivated by being treated like a bit of a being treated a bit shitty, and that motivated me to want to push through. And then what else is it? I think a lot of it is me wanting to provide more for my family because we didn't have much growing up. So for me, the thought of being able to provide more for my parents is again what motivates me as well.
No, for sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. Seeing those having those tough times to then know that, look, I don't want that to ever happen, and I don't want those people around me to ever happen as well.
Yeah, so it's like I don't want that to ever happen. I want it not to be like that for my parents. I also would hate, I would never want that upon my future children. So that's always things motivate me, I think.
So, John, your apartment in Tiong Bahru, you had your little reading corner with a whole shelf full of books, well, multiple shelves full of books actually. And I was like, there's no way he's going to get through those. But I know you have got through most of them now. So, what's been the top 3 books that you've read that have helped you?
I would say, hands down, the most impactful book I read is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That's very, I would definitely recommend it to everyone. It's just more that really that really affects me because it's like sort of in essence teaching you to be present, which is the most important thing. And it's like managing, how do I describe it? It's like creating more time for yourself by being in the present. And yeah, so that's definitely a book I recommend. Um, what sort of like after reading the subtle art of not giving a fuck, that sort of sparked my journey to read a bit more. So I think I've got to give a shout out to that book, even though yeah, people probably thinking like it's not an amazing book. I think it's just a book to sort of help you with your outlook on life and problems, which is good. Third one, it's probably gonna have to be an autobiography by. I think it's quite cool to read autobiographies from like people that you want to emulate, or like people that be successful in what they've done. So I mean, I couldn't really pick one specific one, but like maybe like Michael Jordan or one of these guys. But yeah, I think it's quite cool to read up on people's journey because you can hear the ups and downs.
I'm surprised you didn't say the Bible, mate, in case your mum was going to be listening to this. John, I like to wrap up my pod by asking people to deliver, their message to the world based on the experiences that they've had in their life and the life that they've lived as well. So, take the mic, mate. What would you like to say?
I'm not gonna say anything like overly complicated. I'm just gonna say, keep going, keep going. It might not be working out, but keep going. It's a matter of resilience and pushing through, and you'll get there. And your consistency and resilience will get you to where you want to be.
No, mate, beautiful. I completely agree with you, mate. Hard work pays off, and something's always going to work out if you can constantly push at it and drive at it and apply yourself to it. Things will work one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, like if it's a matter of you do it once and succeed, everyone will be millionaires, right? It's not like that. It's like you need to understand that things aren't going to work out all the time, and you just have to push through or pivot your thinking to then be able to get it done.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. Awesome, mate. Look, thank you so much for coming onto the pod. Thanks for being a good friend and helping me push through things as well. Always appreciate that, mate. And I'll see you in Italy for your wedding.
Yes, bring on 21st September.
All right, mate.